Guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of What They Don't Tell You. I'm your host, Jacob, along with your other host,
Aiden. We're going to give you our perspective on news, facts, culture, what we believe to be true about them.
Alright guys, in today's episode we got a couple different topics we're going to be running down. We're going to be talking about the government reopening. We're going to be talking about Trump sending out stimulus checks to every American. We're also going to be talking about what this is going to do to Gen Z. We're going to be talking about 50-year mortgages, the penny's gone, and the right is woke. So let's get into it. Alright, Aiden, so I'm going to tell you a couple things about these stimulus checks and then I'll let you give your full thoughts on them. So every American will be receiving a $2,000 stimulus check, but there is some stipulations. For a two-member working household family, this is going to be $150,000 or less annually. And then for a single working person in one singular household, that will be $75,000. So about $75,000 per person. Now, Aiden, what are your thoughts on Trump handing these out? And again, these are from the monies that we have received from tariffs on other countries.
Oh, so that's being generated from tariffs.
Yes.
Okay, that's fair. And I like it because, like, stimulus check does imply, I'm assuming, like, a stimulation to the economy itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, if that's where that's being generated and then that's not printed money, okay. I don't know if, I'm not an economist, so I don't know, like, the full details or implications of what that could do.
Before you get into this, I want to say that we still are in debt. That's the thing.
Well, right. I mean,
so
obviously.
this money isn't necessarily on the plus side. So we're still in debt, which means we're still technically printing money. You know what I mean?
Well, yes. Not that we're not.
In that
I'm
idea.
just saying, at least that's not where this money is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't. Again, I'm not an economist, so I don't know. There's probably, like, hidden issues with that I don't know about. I'm always be skeptical when money gets thrown around, but no, on the whole, I like that. If that's what's being generated through tariffs and the government's giving back to the people, I don't really have an issue with that at all. Hopefully that does do what its intended purpose and actually stimulates the economy. I'm assuming what they're hoping is that it stimulates buying, and I'm thinking that they're probably, and the reason he's messing with housing so much, they're trying to get Gen Z into the housing market and re-stimulate the housing market. What you see when you have these kind of, well, thankfully it hasn't dipped into this, but usually when you see like a depression, the housing market is the first one for rates to shoot up, because what they try to do is they try to make those interest rates, those mortgage rates, very high, and that way it's supposed to kind of cool the economy down in the sense, but usually it leads to kind of a recession, if not a depression for that. So my guess is they're trying to get more people to buy houses at this point in time, which is why they're fiddling with this, if you will, for so much.
And what you're saying is with the introduction of the 50-year mortgages, right? Because that's what Trump's wanting to push.
Right? That's what I'm thinking. I'm just saying with how much they're messing with, okay, we'll give you money and then we're going to make the mortgage. Like, I don't necessarily love the mortgage idea. We'll get to that in a little bit. But the idea is to probably get more people in the housing market, get people to be a little bit more free spending-wise, because we want our economy to boom in that way. And the way that tariffs are going to work is we're going to need to generate a lot of money within the U.S. itself. So I think the idea behind it is, okay, if we're going to get in our economy, because the tariffs they are a gamble. Like, I won't necessarily, like, a lot of people think that. A lot of people on the right think that. It just doesn't mean that they're a bad gamble. Gambles do pay off sometimes, but it's risk. It is risk, and you can feel about that how you want. That's fine. I'm definitely willing to have an open mind with that. But on the whole, then, he's like, okay, if we're going to make the tariffs work, we need to stimulate the economy in other ways. So that's probably a good way to try to get the younger generations who are not buying houses right now, partially because of the ridiculously high inflation and those different things, and more interest rates. Mostly interest rates right now are terrible. So hopefully that gives some incentive to get into the housing market more and more. I guess we'll find out. I don't know. That's something that we can only really say. Hindsight is 2020, So hopefully when we look back,
the interest rate on mortgages is almost 7.5%, which is crazy.
That's gross. So, that's probably the average rate. That's not to say what some of the upper class areas are. So, on the whole, I don't necessarily disagree with that. Hopefully people will use it rightly. I don't know that Gen Z is intelligent enough to do that. Yes, I'm Gen Z. I can, if you couldn't tell, I can make those claims. So, that being said, we just have to see where it goes from here. I mean, that's kind of my thoughts on it.
I mean, I think you have some good points there, but I think there is one thing that this could bring. It's like, again, we see a lot. We talked about the SNAP benefits, and I feel
Yep.
like in certain situations, this can be kind of the same thing. It's not incentivizing work. It's not
Yep.
incentivizing to go to
That's true.
spend this money on things that are really needed. This money could be handed out for drugs, for
Right. Wait. I have a
non-needed
question.
purposes.
Question though. It did say it's if you're making an income. Is that correct?
It's $150,000 or less. So,
I think it is mostly to get people to loosen their pockets a little bit to re-stimulate the economy in America. I feel like you should have to have some kind of annual salary. Look, I'm not saying it should be a lot, but I think you should have some kind of revenue coming in yearly, even if it's a very small amount. That then the government should be able to give it. When they're already going to get benefits back, all that, whatever. I don't think it should be necessary to give them that money. You know what I mean? Like, that's not going to incentivize them to go get a job then, or to better themselves to get a job for the ones who aren't, just completely disabled. Maybe if you're like disabled or something, they could give it out, for
Okay,
an army
so-
vet or something for sure. But
I don't know if this is the same as in 2025, but in 2021 when they sent out
Yep,
some
I remember
stimulus
that.
checks, this is taxpayers. So I'm assuming it's some sort of you're a citizen, right? You're paying taxes, and if that means you're not making any money, so you're not paying tax, I don't know how that would work. I mean, you're paying property
wait,
tax,
so
right? Or
our taxes are paying for it.
basically, yes.
Primarily, which I guess I should figure, even if it's from the tariffs. So it's from the tariffs. Okay.
Yeah.
It always, whenever it comes to money in government, it always it starts off and you're like, oh, this sounds great, and then you start
And then you realize
talking
you're just
about it more and
paying
more, and you're like,
yourself
wait a minute, hold up, wait a
They're
minute.
giving us more
Something
money
ain't
to
right.
pay them again.
Look, that's the one area where I definitely agree with, because the Federalists primarily did not imply in the Constitution or even necessarily in the Federalist Papers. Now, I'm working through them right now. I've actually not read quite all of them yet. But regardless, the point is they didn't apply any restrictions to Congress taxing us or having the power to tax. So, and then that's Brutus, or they think it's Robert Yates from New York. His biggest argument against that, and I've talked about this before, is against the Federalist principle is well, why should Congress be able to tax us with no definitive on how much or what the rate should be constantly set at? Because if we had a set constant rate that the government could go above, they would be forced to cut our stupid programs.
Right.
Like promoting
Education
LGBTQ
system.
in India. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Drag shows in Iran. Anyway, and by the way, that would not end well. But those kind of things, they'd be forced to cut how long can a goldfish survive if it doesn't have water? Those kind of programs would be out the window. We'd be supporting hey, my road has potholes in it. So
Right.
it's probably more state, but you get my point. Interstate stuff.
I get you.
So overall, I don't really see much of the. Yes, good. We'll take it. Whatever. I guess. I mean, I'm sure there's
I think
repercussions
it's
elsewhere, but
still gonna hurt the debt. I think instead of putting $2,000 in every single American's pockets, maybe pay off some of the debt. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
Trump's still a spender. I like him for a
He
lot of
is.
stuff, but he's not some people. And this is not a lot of people, so just take me with a grain of salt here. But a few people I've heard of, I'm like, Trump's gonna cut this. I'm like, no, he's not. I'm like, look, I like Trump. I like a lot of what he's doing. He still likes to spend money. Guys,
he's the guy that's don't.
You know?
It's ask for forgiveness, not ask for permission. He's that kind of guy. He gets it done and then has to deal with the
Yeah.
money later.
Yeah, well, everyone does. I mean, no president's been good at it. The last president to pay off our national debt was Andrew Jackson. That was our 7th president, you guys.
Wow.
So since then, we've never paid off our national debt. Not surprised.
That's crazy.
And the only real way to actually get rid of our debt, though, and and you're kind of getting into it, but what some people don't understand is you would have to essentially get bonds and pay, we have to pay into the Federal Reserve, and they just have to start cutting it. There's a lot. It's a very layered issue, and something I'm not going to get into today. But it's not going to happen. It's just not. There's too much money.
It's too much.
that we got to talk about. So other than that, though, no, I think I'm okay with it overall. Again, I'll do more research. If I have to retract that statement, I will. But I'm not entirely against it. I'm against certain parts of it. I'm not entirely against it if it is going to be used to kind of give
Stimulate the economy.
Stimulate the economy, essentially. Make people open their pockets a little bit more, get into the housing market. Because I think what they're trying to do is revive the housing market now. I think they kind of tried to get it to shut down a little bit to kind of cool the economy off. But now I think they're like, okay, ramp it up. We need to stimulate.
Right.
That's my guess. Not saying I'm right. That's my guess.
Now, talking about the housing market, that's going to transition us into our next topic, which is the housing market is now going to have 50-year mortgages options.
What do you think about that?
So this is also going to like kind of go into our next topic too. So I'm just going to go ahead and introduce that.
Sure, yeah.
So these stimulus checks are also going to kind of screw over Gen Z and in the housing market, in just any market in general. And so we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about the 50-year mortgages in this topic. So yeah, I mean, the 50-year mortgages, again, there's three components that go into this, and we're going to talk about the Gen Z in a second. So one is, first, not a lot of people are staying in the same house, especially for 50 years nowadays. You see people moving every 10 years. So it's almost like the new car, you know what I mean? They just want to get a new thing. It might be smaller, it might be bigger, but they just want something new, right?
Yep.
So that's going to be something that, are you going to move in 5 years and then you're paying, for 50 years, you're paying a mortgage that, you know what I mean? If you're like, depends on how the contracts go and all that, I get that. But
yeah.
Still, it's like, who's going to be living there for 50 years? Not a lot of people. Jobs change, people move, families move, family members get sick, family members, you have to go take care of them. Lots of different things.
Yep.
So the odds of people actually staying in one place for 50 years, slim. Now, does this give opportunities to people to Gen Z and the lower income people to be able to afford a home, be able to afford something of their own that's not going to be renting out, get evicted when they can't pay it, or whenever the amount of money you would have spent in a house is into an apartment and then you don't get to keep that apartment. So do you want to piggyback off of some of those and give me your thoughts?
You're not going to want to, it'll promote staying, but not everyone can stay, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that, mostly because, I have a few different things. Gen Z does roll with the punches a little bit. They've been set back by just they're worse. They're one of the only generations, if not the only generation, that's going to be worse off than their parents with the current trend. That's me too. My goal is to not have that happen. I'm aiming high, but you never know. That being said, Gen Z are also idiots.
We have seen that, yes.
Tend to make some really crappy financial decisions, or we wouldn't have. We wouldn't have channels. Like Caleb Hammer going after all these kids that don't know what the frick they're doing and are too ignorant to be able to take responsibility in their lives. So with 50-year mortgages, I don't trust that and that's not even to say that some of them are dumb. It's just inexperience.
Maybe it sounds nice that
Gen
it's like
Z with 50-year mortgages. I don't trust it.
And it sounds nice. It's like half the price I would have had to pay. But then when you look at long term, it's like, I don't know.
Right. No, it's, no. Just no. Okay? Not if we had a really financially literate youth.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying I'm the greatest. I want to be better. I'm working on it, actually. Since we don't have a more financially literate youth, what is that going to look like with 50-year mortgages? Because I guarantee you these kids are going to leave. People who can't take responsibility, first of all, that's a disaster. Like, in and out of itself, that's a disaster. Bad things will happen to them beyond that, but that's going to suck. That's going to be an additional price they have to pay. Now, the people who are really just trying to make their way, willing to do some things, willing to cut their losses sometimes, make some sacrifices, people that are willing to, make some sacrifices, all those things, it's still going to be a struggle. Because at some point, if they do have to accept this 50-year mortgage, or if they're in a financial position where it's like, okay, we need to accept the 50-year mortgage now, they're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And if a job changes, if, like you said, if any of those things change, where are they going to go? Yes, they'll have to move, but then you're taking that with you, right? You're paying that, so it's... I don't
it makes people,
like
I think it's,
the idea, centrally.
Okay,
don't.
Can I ask you this question? Can we look at it from a perspective, okay, this keeps small towns alive? Like, because you see a lot, it keeps certain communities, certain states, certain cities alive compared to whenever they're all moving to here, all moving to there, right? Like, is that even an option, or is that not even...
I don't know if that fully applies, because if anything, it's going to be like, we won't see the full ramifications or the full just how it's going to play out until it does play out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that'll apply because there's a lot of people that live in or near cities.
Right.
And the majority of businesses are in or near cities. So if you're any kind of in-person worker, my guess is you're still going to be moving into those areas and then being stuck with a 50-year mortgage.
Right.
So unless you're still willing to
see
move
what
out
you-
and continue to pay that 50-year mortgage, then you're kind of stuck there. And it'd be better for people, just to intellect-wise, it's like, okay, if I were to lose my job and I've got this 50-year mortgage, where's the most likely place where could otherwise be employed? And that's going to be in a big city or close to a big city, right? So to me, that it will actually probably be people moving closer to cities. At least in my mind, I'm not saying it will. To me, the most logical excuse me, play out of this is move closer to the city. Because if I was going to get stuck, if like I hang up, like let's just say for whatever sake of the argument, say I take a 50-year mortgage, got a family, whatever. Okay, I can't uproot now, really, and move across the country. I've got this, let's just say it's a really high house price, whatever. Best place I could be is near a city, where I could otherwise potentially be employed. So to me, it could actually promote big cities. But that's me. I'm not saying that that's fully true. But that would be the smartest move if you were to take a 50-year mortgage. In my mind. Maybe someone out there can tell me better. But to me, that's how it would play out.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
The average house price, May of 2025, so only a few months ago, around $522,000.
Average?
Yes, that's the average nowadays with inflation, with everything. Put that with almost with a 7% interest rate over 50 years.
Dude.
Like, you're almost paying, like, there's some studies that show that in certain places with this 50-year mortgage, you'd be paying almost $1 million on top of your house.
Why? We're too dumb. It's not possible. I give up.
I mean, congratulations to the banks. They have got it right.
The banks are rolling up and their Corvette, Ferraris, sunglasses, make it rain. They don't care, bro. That bank teller is raking in the cash. They got the guy up front that like hands out the lollipops afterwards to little kids. Dude, he's rolling in cash. Okay, dude, like that's nuts. I didn't. I don't think about that. This is a good time to go into. Well, now the market's probably really saturated with bankers. But dude, if you want to go into accounting, any kind of taxing, dude, you might be raking in money with these 50-year mortgages. If you get enough stupid people out there, and as everybody knows. The world is full of stupid people, so...
Hey, you're not wrong. Now, get into our third of 4 topics today. Speaking of banks, speaking of bank tellers, speaking of money...
No more.
Say goodbye to this little feller.
Dude, we got rid of penny candy, and now we are getting rid of the penny.
So, guys, today, November 13th, R.I.P. to the penny. The last penny was... Moment of silence for the penny. Thank you. The last penny was printed
for the lowest monetary amount.
He's only worth 1 cent. Gosh.
That's what I'm saying.
So the last penny was produced today, and the average cost was around 4 cents to make 1 penny because of the copper. So
I mean that makes sense, but that's kind of dumb at the same time.
It is. So you could like melt these down. You could like melt these down and like make.
Resell them to
extra money.
Like the Federal Reserve. Okay.
I mean, there's not much to say about this, but it's a little sad. And is there anything you just want to mention?
Yeah, I'm devastated. The penny was my best friend. No, look, in some ways it is America's best friend because you literally did used to be able to buy candy with the penny, and that went away. And that's not the penny's fault. That's the fact that we inflated our money like crazy.
I remember my grandpa be like
that time in society.
I remember my grandpa be like, I could go to the movies, get a pop and a soda, a popcorn, and a candy bar for 15 cents. Back in my day, I was like, how? He was like, I bought my first car for $100. I was like, $100? Like, that's insane.
I thought this was going somewhere much different. I thought, that joke that gets set up? He's like, I used to be able to go to the store with $10 and get like, you like list like a million, and the kids like, how? He's like, no security cameras. He's like, that's where I thought that was going. Should have figured that there was something more intelligent there. But Okay,
I should have gone there. That'd been good. But I will say, did you ever see that video where the guy had a speeding ticket and he glued pennies together into the middle finger,
Yes.
and that's how he
No,
gave
one of
it
them
to
he
the
didn't
bank?
glue it, dude. He literally just takes a bucket. Honestly, whoever's there, whoever's there, the clerk, whatever it is, that's
You just
sitting
gotta
there.
laugh.
No, you gotta cry, dude. That's the person that's gonna be like, I have to count every single one of these.
Oh, that would suck. They probably have
That's
machines.
just me.
but
Like here, that's the thing. Like if it was if the cop like was sitting there and you're like you felt it was unjust, yeah, that's a laugh. Like that's okay. You know, that's his problem.
But the
now.
bank person never did anything.
The bank person's just like, dude, I'm doing my job. They hand me money. I put
That's
in
like
this little
how
thing. We
You
send it
get
up.
to work and you're like, you're gonna have to count about 16 million pennies.
How much do I get paid? Not 16 million pennies.
Like $10 an hour. You're like, I've counted more money than that. But I mean, what they are going to be doing though, they're now going to be doing everything in 5 and 10 cents.
Oh, that's a good point. Because like if you
So
had to pay,
nothing's
like,
going to be like 5.72. It's going to be 5.75 or 5.80. It's like
I'm okay with kind of. Yeah, no, I'm okay with that. It really doesn't matter. There's a slight part of me that's
Whatever.
irked. Like, what if it's 5 cents more now? That's kind of irrelevant.
Probably will
considering
be,
the
but-
dollars that it's gone up since the penny. So
Yeah,
honestly,
no
guys, this
kidding.
is the end of an era. I mean, officially, if you want to say it, like we got rid of penny candy, and you're like, okay, inflation's getting bad. When you've gotten rid of the penny, then you know you're screwed. So,
Yep.
I mean,
R.I.P.
yeah,
to the penny.
It's just it's the end of an era. It's the end of something good, really. I mean, honestly, I mean, it's a historic part. So it sucks, but it is what it is, and I mean,
Keep your
life's
pennies.
not unlivable yet. Yeah, honestly, keep your penny. I mean, look, there's so many that they'll probably never be like rare.
And like maybe like
But-
50 years.
Wait, so can you destroy
Well, think
them
about it,
now?
'cause
Hold on, can you like?
Ooh.
No, can you destroy? I'm just curious, because I've seen like videos where like they'll melt, they'll melt like something, and then they'll get in trouble because that's like that's a
Right.
crime to like do that. So now that it's not like, is it still
I
considered a
didn't-
currency? So then you can't. Because there's this guy, actually, he's this sword making guy, and he made a sword out of pennies. Like, he melted it all down.
I've
but
seen
then they
that.
said he got in trouble, but it turns out you can do it sometime. Like, there's like a little loophole you can do it for like an educational purpose. You know, and then he found that loophole. And was like,
Interesting.
okay, like, look, like, he didn't know at the time. I mean, you should
Right.
know always, but he's like, figured it was pennies. And then, they're like, whatever, authorities, whatever. But, yeah, I wonder if you can, I mean, I don't know what I would do. I wonder if you can,
Right.
like, melt them
Well, okay.
down now.
One more question before we get into our last topic. So we've seen the 50-cent piece go. We've seen the dollar coin go. We've seen
Yeah.
the $2
Wait.
bill. And
Wait, the golden dollars are discontinued?
I don't know if they're
Dollar coin?
discontinued, but they're not like mass
I have
produced.
so many. I loved that, dude. The Tooth Fairy would always give me those. Yeah,
Those are cool.
that's awesome.
I
That
think
was fun when my mom
I'm not
did that.
sure if they're discontinued
Okay.
but they're not mass produced. I know that for sure.
Yeah, no, I know.
So-
But I can't get them at my bank. I always liked them. They're fun.
But like, so could we see the introduction of a new coin or a new currency, a new bill, like the $15 bill?
$6
I don't know.
bill. $15 bill. That'd be fun. I want my face. I'm petitioning. Guys, in the comments, petition to put my face
Yeah,
on the $15 bill.
drop it in the
Super historic. Yeah.
And then I get my
Ugliest
face in the
dollar
little
bill.
circle on the back.
yeah.
Just
I want
the what they
Jacob's
don't
face
tell you
near
dollar
the
bill.
pyramid.
Hey, it's my eye. It's me going.
Yeah.
New dollar
Start the
bill,
petition,
guys.
guys. We got this.
Drop it in the comments.
$15 bill, my face, go. Okay.
All
Moving
right.
on.
Well, all right. So R.I.P. to the penny. We've covered that. We've covered Trump. We're going to be talking about Trump and the Epstein files, and later on Monday, I think, is when we're going to be talking about that. That's going to be a big deal. But to introduce next Friday's episode, the woke right. And do you want to get us into just this headache of a mess?
The woke right, obviously, kind of a joke. I honestly, when I picked up, like, on this kind of controversy, I didn't know where to start. Because I hadn't kept up like some people had. I'm not, like, a super avid Candace listener. I listened to some Tucker, didn't, like, I wasn't listening intently enough to, like, pick out, like, this little detail.
Right.
So, over time, this buildup of kind of the neocon, like, pro-Israel, super, like, we need to, like, kind of, Zionist, however you want to say that, whatever, versus what, for whatever, I think I'm pronouncing this right. So, Nick Fuentes, Groypers, essentially, which
I
just
think
sounds
so.
dirty. I don't
It
like
does.
it. I don't particularly, yeah. We'll get into sides later. Either way, Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro have been going at it, and we've kind of got a right-wing civil war on our hands. Conservative civil war or whatever. Look, I respect in different ways. I don't necessarily agree with everything. Both of these men, Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson, and then people have gotten mixed in and thrown into the mess. I think, and we'll dive more into it, I think that there's issues on both sides, and just as our kind of introduction, I would mostly just want to remind people to think critically, and you don't necessarily have to even take a side. You can kind of, what I was kind of reminded of today is like, classic conservatism. What do I like? I don't fully have to align with the person. What do I like from this person? What do I like from this person? What do I like from this person? And then what's true, right? I mean, generally, because I'm looking for what's true. That's what underlies all of this. What's true? What do we need to factually ground ourselves on to move forward in the best way possible? And that might mean sifting through the extra layers to be like, okay, what on the base core? What's their intent? All those questions to try to find out the best path forward, because that's really our goal. And I do feel like some of these things are really just setbacks to that goal.
Yeah.
We're going to get into it more. We're going to get into it much more. I'm trying to go on a very surface level here.
I get you, and I'm just going to give a real quick rundown. We've got Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, Brett Cooper even got involved last week.
Crazy Candace. Yeah.
And we can see all of these people. I saw Ruslan's been making videos on Candace, and like I don't know, I take his side on a lot of this stuff. I really like Ruslan. Ruslan Katie or Blessed with God Studios. I'll link those in the description. But it's like you said, it's a civil war within our own side. I mean, again, we can't fight the opposite side until we can get we can't fight the opposite side until we get our inside party right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
no, it's very difficult
until we have our ducks our eggs in a line.
Ducks in a row. That's what you're going
ducks
for.
in a row. If we have our ducks in a row on this side, then we can start facing the bigger issues. But until then, I don't even think like MAGA's falling apart, and I don't know. It's kind of scary because who's the real conservative party? You know what I mean? I mean, this started with Candace and her Brigitte Macron series, like that just kind of spiraled out of control. Everybody started taking sides.
There's a lot of things.
Trump freaking called her. Like, I don't know, dude. I mean, is there anything you want to add?
We'll see.
Is there anything you want to add? Just any thoughts?
We're going to discuss Candace. We're going to discuss Tucker. We're going to discuss Ben Shapiro. We're going to discuss. We're going to discuss Benny Johnson because he got involved a little bit. You know, I had to throw in just his opinions. We're going to talk about the Daily Wire, probably in general, where that's going, why people are so divided over that.
I definitely want to hit that for sure.
So look for that. All the continued research, pick up on any new information I find, and
before
from there.
Before we hop off here, the biggest thing I want to say, right? Are you, again, there's two things. Are you upset at a take? Because again, like you said, the individual, the thing is like, I might like a couple points from her. I might like a couple points from him. That's where we need to draw the line is, I just hate her. I just hate him. Or I like this. We're going to talk about how Candace, some of her situations, maybe this is tying back into her mentality from when she stood up to BLM. There's a lot of things that can go into this. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I have a feeling we're going to get some hate for what we say, but hey,
it's going to get messy, just going to happen. Sure. It's not, again, maybe the bigger issue is, and I'm going to try to solidify this more and more for myself. I'm not sure where I fully stand on the issues because I just don't know that I'm like fully sold on either side.
Right.
Now, I think that there's very flawed arguments on one specific side, which I'll get to, but there's still reasons that I'm not fully sold. That line is still balanced right now. So we're going to get more into that. We're going to let you guys form your opinions. I'm not going to say which side I fully agree with. You might have been able to kind of guess from my comments in the past, but I'm not going to fully say it. Or which side I generally think has the worst arguments or the better arguments. We'll get into that a little bit. But at the end of the day, I do think you don't have to adopt a person. Every single human being is flawed at some point. Social media just points out every single flaw, which is why I kind of hate social media. Because I can be recorded saying something here that, you say things sometimes and you don't realize. And then people pick up on that and they nail you into the ground and they nail the final nail in the coffin.
They take you out of context. A lot of our comments have been taken out of context. And we've seen that a lot. We see that with tons of different people.
Absolutely.
But I think
you get wrecked over little things that you don't mean.
Right. Or you say it, missay it, something like that.
Yep. Anything.
And I think, again, this even's going to lead into Charlie Kirk, what happened with him, what everybody's saying about him. So be be prepared.
Rabbit holes
This will
and
be coming up.
bombshells.
Yep. This will be coming out the 21st of November, so look forward to that episode, and we'll see you then. Peace.